can't without these crazy things, right? But how do you do that? And I say, there's such love in the room. I really mean this. It's easy because there's such love in the room. It's like not that hard to.
We love you! We love you, President Trump! Beaverines love you too!
Thank you.
Beaverines!
So much love. Together we're taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like it. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we are fighting against may be, you must never forget this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This nation belongs to you.
Yes!
This is your home, this is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. This is your God-given right. From Concord to Cornwall, from Plymouth to Portsmouth, and from Meredith to Manchester, you inherit the legacy of red-blooded New Hampshire patriots who live by that immortal motto, live free or die. Have you heard of that before? We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the ocean, settled a continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up the greatest skyscrapers in the world, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and made America the single greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are skyrocketing. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest levels in our history, where we are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, as we were just a few short years ago. We're a nation that is begging Venezuela and others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden. Yet we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country anywhere in the world. We are a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will be reducing their oil production, while at the same time substantially increasing the price. And we met that threat by announcing that we will no longer be drilling for oil in large areas of Alaska or elsewhere on our land. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal, yet everyone knows that the Green New scam is fake and will lead to our destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all electric cars, despite the fact that they don't go far. So sad. They also cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but not available in China. And now we are a nation that wants to make our revered and very powerful Army tanks the best anywhere in the world, all electric, so that despite the fact that they are also not able to go far, fewer pollutants will be released into the air as we blast through enemy territory in an environmentally friendly way. And they also want to make our jet fighters with a green stamp of energy savings, though losing 15% efficiency, but allowing us to keep our enemy's atmosphere clean of emissions. as we viciously and unceremoniously attack them at levels never seen before. Who are these people that would do this to us? Who are these people who would ruin our country? We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the U.S. just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a foolish, foolish thing? So self-destructive it is. Can we be energy independent? And again, can we be even energy dominant? Yes, oh yes, and very quickly, says President Trump. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world, and also abandoning Bagram, one of the biggest military air bases anywhere in the world, and only 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Think of that. And we are a nation that allowed Russia and Ukraine to fight, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your president, and for 4 straight years it didn't happen. Likewise, the horrifying attack on Israel would never have happened. They wouldn't have even thought of doing such a thing if President Trump was in the Oval Office. Iran was broke under President Trump. They didn't have the money to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, and all of the other instruments of terror that were funded were going without any funds at all. But those sanctions were lifted by a very corrupt Biden administration, and now Iran is a rich country with $200 billion and another $6 billion for hostages and $10 billion for electricity to Iraq. All compliments of the incompetent Biden administration. And China, with Taiwan, is next. We are a nation that allows radical left terrorists to violently attack our cities, leaving behind massive destruction and death. And nothing happens to the criminals that do these terrible things. There is no punishment, but when people who love our country protest on January 6th, in Washington, D.C., they become hostages unfairly imprisoned for long, long periods of time. We're a third world nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never, ever before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald J. Trump to lie and say it was fact. Where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation and the FBI knew it wasn't. But 51 intelligence agents said it was. And the Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired and in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars, because the weaponry that no one has even thought about is so devastating, so far beyond anything ever thought before. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get. And they are indeed the enemy of the people. They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family, but enjoy covering the false indictments of Donald J. Trump, who has done nothing wrong except win an election that wasn't anticipated by them. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant and out of control like never before. And we are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to rival our own. And less than 3 years ago, we had Iran China, Russia, North Korea, and China. They respected us. They were afraid of us. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. And now Russia and China are holding summits to carve up the rest of the world. And perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer admired, respected, or listened to on the world stage. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, faith, and even God. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool, whose supply chain is broken, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. We are a nation that just sold a once great company, United States Steel, to Japan. We are a nation whose stock market continued success is totally contingent on MAGA winning the next election. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals, thieves, are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than groceries to feed our beautiful families. We have become a drug-infested, crime-ridden nation, which is incapable of solving even the simplest of problems. We will institute the powerful death penalty for drug dealers, where each dealer is responsible for the death during their lives of over 500 people or more. Mothers will never again be forced to watch their children overdosing and hopelessly dying in the arms of screaming, "What can I do? What can I do? I want my child back." We are a nation whose once revered airports are dirty, crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the planes won't leave. They have no idea when they will. Where ticket prices have tripled, they don't have the pilots